Hey there, garden friends. It's Heather at Bush Poppy Farm, and today we are cutting back, oh hello little spider, perennials. If you have already subscribed to the channel, thank you so very much. And if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Perennials. This is my perennial pollinator bed in the cut flower garden. I keep this loaded up with blooming, I keep getting this little spider on me and I keep relocating him and he keeps wanting to come back to me. I keep this bed loaded with perennials that are flowering perennials. So salvias and buddleias, roses, rudbeckias, all kinds of things that just keep coming back year after year. However, in order to keep these things fresh, keep them blooming, keep them looking good, these perennials have to be dramatically pruned to keep them in shape. And this is the time of year to do it. So this salvia right here, as you can see, I planted this salvia early summer last year, probably in June. When I bought it, it was this big. Look at this growth in just one season. So in order to keep this guy under control and keep it producing lots and lots of beautiful stems, I need to cut it back. And when I say cut it back, I mean really cut it back. We're going to take this guy back to about 6 inches off the ground. Same thing for this beautiful buddleia. Now this guy's older. It's been here a couple more years than this guy. But again, it was tiny when I planted it, and every year it gets huge. This year it didn't get as big because I think it's competing for water now, whereas before this guy wasn't here. So I also have lavender that I'm going to cut back. And the thing about lavender though is you want to make sure you don't cut back all into the woody stems, because then they just will stay scraggly. So you just want to take off the green, the new growth at the top, and then that will rejuvenate the plant. So trying to see if there's anything else in here that I'm going to cut back. I think these are my big jobs for now. So I'm going to take after these and then we'll see what everything looks like at the end. So that may have seemed really harsh, but it rejuvenates the plants. It's exactly what they need this time of year. So let me give you a close-up look at what I've done. And keep in mind that it's still a bit messy because I haven't come in here with mulch yet, which I will do. I always put down a nice, bark mulch to make it look pretty. Also, it helps me to see the spots that I can put new plants in. And since I have a bunch in the greenhouse already started, ready to go in the ground pretty soon, this will help me see where I can slot them in. Even though these are perennials, they don't last forever. So some of them cycle through, live a couple of years, and then it's time to replace them with something else. So I'm always on the lookout for more fun varieties. But this pollinator bed, it is roughly 3 feet wide by about 9 feet long. It brings in so many bees. It provides the pollination for this entire cut flower farm as well as all my vegetables. And it's a joy to be out here. It just sings in the summertime, literally sings with bees. So let's take a look at what I've done. So here we have a really pretty lavender that actually only blooms once in the spring. I can't remember the variety it is. It's been so many years since I planted it, probably about 3 years. But it only has blooms in the spring. So even though it smells luscious the rest of the year, I always want to cut it back around this time so that I can get those late spring, early summer purple blooms. Then here is that buddleia. It looks really harsh, but I want you to see, if you look up close, there are buds. So I cut just above buds everywhere. That will encourage the plant to put all of its energy into those buds. So it's no longer having to hydrate or feed those long, long stalks, which we're done producing anyway. Doing this also gives you a chance to clean out, all this stuff. But like I said, this is a mess because it's last year's bark mulch plus leaves, but that's okay because you want that. You want to build your soil. You're really trying to grow soil, not plants. If you grow your soil, then you're going to have healthy plants. Okay, so here is another salvia that I took off the ends, and you can see all this fresh new growth. So I'm going to come in here later with little snips and take out all those dead branches from last year. But all that fresh new growth is going to produce a beautiful plant again this year. This grass right here is a California native. It's called blue-eyed grass, and I have that sprinkled in around here just on the edge. It does produce a little pretty blue flower that the bees actually do enjoy. So this was that giant salvia, and again, it looks like there's nothing left, but there are buds on the end of each of these stalks that I trimmed. So again, it's going to put all its energy into those growth buds and come back a nicely rejuvenated plant. We have yarrow here, which right now looks awful, but I pulled away as much of the dead stuff as I could. There's another lavender right there. We've got another decorative grass here. The name escapes me, but that stays pretty compact. This one over here keeps growing and gets long. Beautiful spikes with little flowers on the end. So I've cut that back, given it just a haircut. I can't remember for the life of me what this is, but I've planted it a couple times in here, so I know it's not a weed, and it does have pretty flowers on it. So a couple of varieties. There's another salvia right there. Again, I didn't cut that one too severely back. And over here, oh, these are milkweed. I just remembered. These are narrow leaf milkweed, which they feed the monarch butterflies, specifically in California. So this is the variety that we really should be growing. This is a stalk from Liatris. I have those bulbs planted throughout here. That'll just come back. I just took the dead stuff off. So could you do all of this cleaning in the fall? Yes, definitely. But I like to leave everything in the fall for the birds so that they have cover, they have protection, they have a food source. And then now that it's warming up, I trim everything back and the growth starts. So that's it for today. I just thought you would enjoy learning a little bit about perennial pruning. I'm sitting here next to this Meyer lemon that smells absolutely amazing. I need to find a place to put this in the ground, so that's one of the next chores. More pruning will happen in various places on the property, and but they're just small jobs now. At this point, the majority of the work has been done, especially in the cottage garden, which actually I'll take you back there and show you that real quick, because I did a bunch of work back there. I did the spring cleaning of it, and I planted a whole bunch of new transplants. So let's go look. So this is the cottage garden bed that I did a lot of cleanup in, as well as planting. So there are transplants of foxglove and dusty miller and penstemon, just to name a few. And hopefully you can see that it looks a lot cleaner and tidier than it did in the February garden tour. We're also getting a lot more growth in just the last couple of days. There's some pretty daffodils. Our sweet alyssum is coming back. The Gara is coming back. The Gaillardia is coming back. The Nemesia is coming back. I cut back all of this dusty miller and made way for more transplants of yarrow, and again, more digitalis. So everything just looks so much better. And I cleaned this whole thing out. It will get mulched, but not quite ready for that yet. And we're just about starting to enjoy the daffodils. So how do you know if the perennials in your garden are perennials that you need to cut back in the spring? The best way to know is to find out if they bloom on new wood or old wood. So things that bloom on new wood would be your salvias and your panicle hydrangeas and your buddleias, things like that. Those, if you cut them back pretty severely, like I did, you'll get a lot more fresh growth and you'll get many more blooms on many more stems. If you cut back a variety that blooms on old wood, such as your macrophylla hydrangeas, you will be forfeiting blooms for this year. So you definitely want to figure out what it is that you are looking at, and then just Google, when do I prune whatever the species name is, or does X bloom on new or old wood? And then you'll know. And from then on, you can just keep notes and know that that's what you need to do when it's either spring or fall. So for things that bloom on old wood, the time to prune them is immediately after flowering. So for instance, your macrophylla hydrangeas, if you're not using those as cut flowers in your house or whatever, cut back those stems after the blooms start to fade. Then you're good, because you're not cutting off any new buds that are lying dormant. So I hope that helps, and I hope you get out there and get after your perennials as soon as your weather allows. We have passed our supposed last expected frost date, which was February 15th, but we're still going down into the low 30s at night, so you know, it's still possible to get a frost. So just be cautious. You don't want to do this too soon so that the fresh new growth gets frostbitten, but it's definitely important to do it before the active growth sets in. Thanks again so much for watching today. I hope you learned something and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.